Hidden in plain sight, the massive Galactic Federation survey vessel Eternal Discovery drifted silently at the edge of the Sol system, its adaptive hull reflecting hardly any light as it conducted its scheduled reconnaissance. Commander Zolvex stood on the bridge, his four crystalline eyes narrowing as he studied the holographic display of the third planet. Another primitive world, he sighed, his voice a melodic series of clicks that the ship's systems automatically translated for the mixed species crew. Look at those fossil fuel emissions. They haven't even solved basic atmospheric management. His second-in-command, Officer Neri, fluttered her membranous wings in agreement. The Calaxian scientist had seen dozens of developing worlds during their 5-year expedition. Shall I mark it as Category 3? Pre-spacefaring, but with rudimentary orbital capabilities. Zolvex was about to agree when something caught his attention. Wait, run a deeper scan on those satellites. Something seems unusual. The Eternal Discovery sensors probed deeper, analyzing the crude-looking satellites orbiting the blue planet. Most appeared to be simple communications devices or planetary observation platforms, exactly what you'd expect from a species taking its first awkward steps into space. "Sir, they've achieved nuclear fission," reported the sensor officer, a gelatinous Moravian whose body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns as he worked. "And there are indications of early fusion experiments." Zolvex's exoskeleton clicked thoughtfully. The Federation had strict protocols for nuclear-capable species. Too often, such civilizations destroyed themselves without proper guidance. Upgrade to Category 2. We'll need to inform the Council immediately. This species may require intervention before they turn their nuclear capabilities against themselves. What the Federation crew didn't know was that deep beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, in a facility that appeared on no official records, Admiral Helena Chen was watching them wash her planet. "They've taken the bait," she said, allowing herself a small, satisfied smile as she studied displays showing the alien vessel's position and scanning patterns. Around her, the command center hummed with quiet efficiency, dozens of officers monitoring the Federation ship through sensors far more sophisticated than anything the aliens could detect. "They're running a standard Category 2 assessment," Lieutenant Commander Jackson reported, analyzing the alien scan patterns. "They think our satellites are primitive." Chen nodded. "Perfect. After 30 years of preparation, it's all going according to plan." Earth had detected the Federation's presence in nearby star systems over 50 years earlier, using quantum detection technology that operated on principles the Federation's science hadn't yet discovered. Instead of announcing themselves, humanity had made a collective decision: watch, learn, and prepare. And what they'd learned had been troubling. The Federation, while peaceful toward its members, had a habit of guiding developing worlds in ways that invariably led to economic and cultural dependency. Civilizations were directed along approved technological paths, their development carefully shaped to fit the Federation's needs. "Has the real fleet been alerted?" Chen asked, turning to her strategic operations officer. "Yes, Admiral. All vessels are maintaining position in the shadow zones. No emissions, perfect stealth protocols. The Federation has no idea they're there." Beyond Neptune, hidden in regions of space the Federation's sensors couldn't penetrate, Earth's true fleet waited silently. 300 vessels, each more powerful than anything the Federation had ever built, powered by zero-point energy, and equipped with weapons that could reconfigure matter itself. On the Eternal Discovery, Commander Zolvex finished his report to Federation headquarters, recommending immediate diplomatic contact with the humans. The Federation Council would deliberate, but the outcome was predetermined. Within weeks, a diplomatic vessel would arrive to offer Earth guidance and protection in exchange for joining the galactic community. "Power down non-essential systems," Zolvex ordered. "We'll maintain observation from the dark side of their moon until the diplomatic corps arrives." As the alien vessel moved into position, its crew had no idea they were being tracked by sensors embedded in what they thought were simple lunar research outposts. Every conversation, Every transmission, every scrap of data was being intercepted, analyzed, and added to the vast intelligence database humanity had compiled on the Federation. In her Mountain Command Center, Admiral Chen received the decoded transmission the aliens had sent to their superiors. "Just as we predicted," she said, passing the information to her staff. "They're sending a Category 2 first contact team. They expect to find a frightened, awestruck civilization ready to accept guidance. Should we inform the world leaders?" asked Lieutenant Commander Jackson. Chen shook her head. "Not yet. Let's maintain the deception a little longer." She turned to the vast display showing Earth's hidden fleet. "Commander Reeves, is the Prometheus ready?" Through a quantum-encrypted channel, the commander of Earth's most powerful warship responded immediately. "Ready and waiting, Admiral. The moment you give the word, we can be anywhere in the system within seconds." Chen nodded with satisfaction. Humanity had spent decades developing technologies the Federation couldn't imagine, carefully hiding their true capabilities while presenting the facade of a struggling young civilization. Their ships used gravity manipulation instead of conventional propulsion. Their weapons could restructure reality at the subatomic level. Their shields could withstand forces that would destroy stars. And none of it operated on principles the Federation would recognize. "Keep monitoring the alien vessel," Chen ordered. "I want to know the moment the diplomatic team arrives. That's when we'll spring the trap." For 3 generations, humanity had united in secret, pooling resources and setting aside ancient rivalries to prepare for this moment. Earth's apparent political divisions and conflicts were largely theater, a carefully maintained illusion to convince any watching eyes that humans remained primitive and divided. Behind this facade, a technological revolution had unfolded, driven by discoveries in quantum physics that had unlocked the fundamental secrets of the universe itself. Humanity had opted for depth over breadth, focusing their genius on a few key technologies that would give them an insurmountable advantage when the time came to reveal themselves. On the lunar observation post designated Silent Witness, Captain Michelle Rodriguez watched the Federation vessel through military-grade sensors disguised as simple astronomical equipment. To the alien observers, she appeared to be running routine maintenance on what they would interpret as a primitive research station. In reality, she was coordinating with a dozen stealth satellites tracking every energy emission from the Federation ship. "They're completely clueless," she reported to Admiral Chen. "Their cultural assessment team is already preparing first contact protocols based on our false data feeds." Chen allowed herself a rare moment of amusement. "Let me guess, they think we're still fighting over fossil fuels and religious differences." "Exactly. Their anthropologists are predicting we'll be overwhelmed by their technology and quickly accept protectorate status. Little do they know," Chen mused, "that we've been watching them for longer than they've been watching us." As the Federation ship continued its observation, completely unaware of the elaborate deception unfolding around it, humanity's true capabilities remained hidden, a sleeping giant preparing to awaken at precisely the right moment. The stage was set. The Federation would return with their diplomatic overtures, expecting to find a primitive civilization ripe for guidance. Instead, they would discover that humanity had outpaced them centuries ago, developing along paths the Federation had never imagined possible. The greatest surprise in galactic history was about to unfold. The deception unveiled. 3 weeks after the initial survey, a small Federation diplomatic fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system. Led by the impressive command vessel Galactic Emissary, the 5 ships formed a standard approach formation as they prepared to make official first contact with humanity. High Ambassador Teloric stood on the bridge of the Emissary, his tall, slender form draped in the ceremonial robes that marked his status among the Federation's most accomplished diplomats. With translucent skin that shifted colors with his emotions, currently a confident blue-green, he projected the perfect image of benevolent authority. "Scan the system again," he ordered. "I want to be absolutely certain there are no surprises." The Federation's sensors swept across space, revealing exactly what they expected. A handful of primitive satellites, a few basic space stations, and several chemical-propelled vessels near the human homeworld. Nothing that could possibly challenge even one Federation ship. All readings confirm Category 2 classification, Ambassador, reported the tactical officer. Their most advanced weapons appear to be nuclear missiles with chemical propellants. They have a small habitat orbiting their world and a research outpost on their moon. Talorak nodded, satisfied. Very good. This should be a standard integration. Transmit the greeting package on all frequencies. Show them our benevolence, but also our power. First impressions are critical with primitive species. As the Federation ships approached Earth orbit, they broadcast a carefully crafted message of peace and friendship, along with impressive holographic displays of Federation achievements. The message was designed to inspire awe and establish the visitors' technological superiority from the outset. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Chen and the Joint Chiefs of Earth's Unified Defense Forces watched the approaching ships with calm determination. "They're right on schedule," Chen noted, "and broadcasting exactly the propaganda package we expected." On the main display, the Federation's message played out, showing gleaming cities, advanced medical technology, and hints of their military might, all carefully calibrated to seem miraculous to a developing civilization. "They're so predictable," General Williams commented, his weathered face expressionless. "Same approach they've used on a dozen other worlds. Show off the shiny toys, hint at the big guns, and wait for the locals to start groveling." Chen nodded. "Initiate Phase 2. Let's play our part a little longer." Across Earth, prepared responses began. World leaders expressed amazement at the alien contact. News networks broadcast footage of crowds gathering in major cities, staring up at the sky in wonder. Military forces were placed on high alert, their outdated equipment prominently displayed for the Federation's sensors to detect. It was all theater, a carefully choreographed performance designed to reinforce the Federation's assumptions about human capabilities. On the Galactic emissary, Talorak reviewed the human responses with satisfaction. They're reacting exactly as predicted. Their military forces are mobilizing, but it's a futile gesture, just as the profile suggested. They're attempting to display strength from a position of weakness. His assistant, a reptilian saurian named Drex, flicked her tongue in amusement. "The Council will be pleased. This world has abundant resources and an adaptable population. They'll make excellent clients once they understand their place." Talorak activated the ship's communications. "Prepare the landing party. We'll make planetfall at their United Nations headquarters as offered. Standard diplomatic protocols, but maintain security measures. These humans may be primitive, but they could still be unpredictable." As the Federation prepared their diplomatic shuttle, they remained completely unaware that everything they thought they knew about Earth was carefully crafted misinformation. In Washington, D.C., the Secretary General of the United Nations waited in the Grand Assembly Hall, surrounded by representatives from world governments. The massive room had been prepared for this historic meeting, with the Federation delegation expected to arrive within the hour. What the aliens couldn't know was that beneath the ornate architecture and ceremonial trappings, the entire complex was actually a sophisticated military command center, equipped with defense systems centuries beyond what the Federation could detect. "Remember," Admiral Chen reminded the assembled leaders through a secure channel, "maintain the illusion until Ambassador Williams gives the signal. Let them make their pitch first." The sleek Federation shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere, escorted by what appeared to be primitive jet fighters, but were actually advanced aerospace craft, designed to look unsophisticated. The shuttle landed gracefully on the United Nations Plaza, where a red carpet and honor guard awaited. Talorak emerged first, his translucent skin now glowing with a confident golden hue meant to impress the humans. Behind him came representatives from 5 major Federation species, each selected to provide a calculated psychological impact on the primitive humans. The Secretary General stepped forward, extending his hand in greeting. "On behalf of humanity, I welcome you to Earth. Telluric touched his four-fingered hand to his chest in the Federation's universal gesture of peaceful intent. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Federation, a union of 300 species united in peace and prosperity. We have watched your world with great interest and are pleased to formally introduce ourselves." The ceremony proceeded according to plan, with speeches and exchanges of symbolic gifts. The Federation delegation was then escorted to the Grand Chamber, where world leaders had gathered to hear their proposal. Telluric stood at the podium, his imposing figure enhanced by subtle gravitational manipulators that made him appear to glow slightly, a trick that had proven effective with other primitive species. "People of Earth," he began, his voice amplified through the hall, "today marks the beginning of a new era for your world. The Federation offers you guidance, protection, and access to technologies beyond your current understanding. In exchange, we ask only that you follow our proven path of development and contribute your unique resources to our shared prosperity." He activated a holographic display showing the benefits of Federation membership: gleaming cities, advanced medicine, and interstellar travel. What he didn't show were the resource extraction operations, the cultural assimilation programs, and the military bases that would inevitably follow. "Of course," Telluric continued smoothly, "full integration will take time. For now, we propose establishing a protectorate relationship. Federation advisors would help guide your technological and social development, ensuring you avoid the pitfalls that have destroyed other young civilizations." The assembled human leaders nodded and murmured, appearing suitably impressed. The Federation delegation exchanged satisfied glances. Everything was proceeding as expected. Then Ambassador Williams, Earth's designated representative, rose to speak. A tall, dignified woman with silver hair and piercing eyes. She approached the podium with measured steps. "High Ambassador Telluric, we thank you for your generous offer," she began, her voice perfectly calm. "Before we respond, we would like to share something with you, a truth we believe you should understand." She pressed a small device in her hand. Instantly, the chamber's lights dimmed, and a holographic display far more sophisticated than anything the Federation had shown materialized in the center of the room. "This is the true face of humanity," Williams said. The hologram showed Earth's actual technological achievements. Zero-point energy plants powering entire continents without pollution. Quantum manufacturing centers creating materials atom by atom. Orbital habitats far larger and more advanced than the Federation's greatest space stations. And finally, the real human fleet. Hundreds of ships hidden throughout the solar system, each displaying capabilities the Federation had believed impossible. Telluric's skin paled to a shocked white. "What is this? Some kind of primitive illusion?" "No illusion, Ambassador," Williams replied. "For 50 years, we have observed the Federation. We've studied your technologies, your policies, and your treatment of other primitive worlds. We decided it would be prudent to keep our true capabilities hidden until we could assess your intentions." Before Telluric could respond, the walls of the chamber seemed to dissolve, revealing that they were not in the United Nations building at all, but in an advanced holographic simulation facility deep underground. "Right now," Williams continued, "your ships are being held in a gravitational bubble. Don't be alarmed. They're perfectly safe, but unable to communicate with your Federation. We thought it best to have this conversation in private." In orbit, the Federation vessels hung motionless, caught in invisible fields they couldn't detect or understand. Their engines continued to run but produced no movement. Their communication systems functioned perfectly but reached no one. On the Galactic emissary's bridge, the remaining crew stared in disbelief at their instruments. One moment they had been monitoring the diplomatic mission. The next, they had lost all contact with their shuttle and found themselves unable to maneuver. "What's happening?" demanded the acting commander. "Get me a full sensor sweep." "Sir," the sensor officer responded, voice trembling, "there are ships appearing all around us. Hundreds of them. They weren't there a moment ago." Across the solar system, Earth's true fleet revealed itself. Massive vessels emerged from hiding, their advanced stealth systems powering down to show hulls of a material the Federation couldn't identify. These weren't the primitive spacecraft the Federation had detected during their survey. These were warships that dwarfed even the largest Federation dreadnoughts. Back in the underground facility, Ambassador Williams watched the Federation delegation's stunned expressions with calm satisfaction. "Now," she said, "let's discuss a different kind of relationship, one between equals, not between master and servant." Telluric struggled to comprehend what he was seeing. Everything he thought he knew about humans had been wrong. The Federation's careful plans, based on decades of observation, had been built on a foundation of deliberate misinformation. "How?" he finally managed to ask. "How did you conceal all this?" Admiral Chen stepped forward from the shadows. "The same way you hide things from primitive species, Ambassador. We simply operated on principles your science hasn't yet discovered. Your sensors couldn't detect our real technology because they weren't designed to look for it." Telluric's skin shifted to a deep purple of shame and fear. "The Council, they must be informed." "They will be," Williams assured him. "But first, we need to establish some ground rules. Earth will not be a protectorate. We will not follow your proven path of development. And we will certainly not submit to having our resources extracted for Federation benefit." On screens around the room, the Federation delegation could see their ships surrounded by Earth's fleet. The message was clear. Humanity wasn't asking for these terms. They were stating them. "What happens now?" Telluric asked, his confident demeanor completely shattered. Williams smiled. "Now, High Ambassador, we begin real diplomacy between equals. And if the Federation isn't interested in that kind of relationship, we're perfectly content to continue our development alone." The deception was over. Humanity had revealed itself not as the primitive society the Federation had expected to easily assimilate, but as a technological powerhouse that had deliberately hidden its true nature while studying its would-be conquerors. The galaxy was about to change forever. Galactic consequences. News of humanity's deception spread through the Federation like wildfire. Secure communication channels that normally carried routine governance reports now buzzed with urgent messages about the shocking revelations from the Sol system. Emergency council sessions were convened. Military commanders were summoned from the farthest reaches of Federation space. In the Grand Council chamber on Arcturus Prime, the heart of Federation governance, representatives from 300 member species gathered in an atmosphere of unprecedented tension. The vast, crystal-domed hall hummed with nervous energy as Councillor Xen Terrell, the Federation's highest elected official, called the emergency session to order. "By now, all of you have received preliminary reports regarding the situation on Earth," the ancient Arcturian began, his voice resonating through the chamber despite his frail appearance. "High Ambassador Telluric and his delegation have been permitted to return with evidence of human technological capabilities that exceed our most advanced theoretical models." Holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber, showing the human fleet and technological achievements. The assembled councillors murmured in disbelief. "Impossible," stated Councillor Drez of the Saurian Compact, his scaled skin flushing a deep crimson. "No species could advance so rapidly without detection. Our observation protocols have been perfect for 2 millennia." "Evidently not," replied Councillor Mira of the Pleiadian Alliance, her luminescent form flickering with agitation. "The humans have been operating on scientific principles our sensors weren't designed to detect. They've been watching us while we thought we were watching them." High Ambassador Telluric stood before the council, his normally proud posture diminished by the humiliation of his diplomatic failure. His skin had taken on a grayish hue of profound distress. "I cannot overstate the sophistication of their deception," he reported. "Every primitive satellite, every crude spacecraft, every seemingly inefficient power plant, all were carefully crafted props designed to mislead our observers. Behind this facade, they have developed technologies that operate on principles our science has yet to formulate." "What precisely are they capable of?" demanded Councillor Vorik, the militant representative of the Zenturi Dominion. the Federation's primary military power. Telluric activated a personal data device, displaying technical analyses captured during their brief detention. Their energy generation appears to harness what they call zero-point field manipulation, extracting energy from subspace itself. Their propulsion systems don't push against normal space, but fold it, allowing instantaneous travel without the limitations of our hyperdrives. Their weapons, he hesitated, their weapons can restructure matter at the quantum level. The council chamber erupted in chaotic debate. Some representatives called for immediate military action to neutralize this potential threat. Others advocated for accelerated diplomatic engagement to secure favorable relations. A few suggested simply quarantining the entire Sol system until a consensus could be reached. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other powers were receiving their own reports about the events in Sol. The cybernetic Rixari Collective, traditional rivals of the Federation, processed the information through their vast neural networks and immediately dispatched stealth observers toward Earth. The ancient and mysterious Voidwalkers, who had maintained neutrality in galactic affairs for millennia, suddenly awakened their dormant communications networks to discuss this unprecedented development. On Earth, humanity waited calmly for the galaxy's response. The Federation delegation had been allowed to depart with enough information to verify humanity's capabilities, but not enough to understand the principles behind them. It was a calculated risk, showing strength while maintaining technological superiority. In orbit around Jupiter, aboard the flagship Prometheus, Admiral Chen conferred with the Joint Chiefs via quantum entanglement communication. Unlike conventional transmissions, these couldn't be intercepted or decoded by Federation technology. The diplomatic team reports increased activity across all known Federation military installations. General Williams informed the group. They're conducting emergency readiness drills and recalling ships from frontier assignments. As expected, Chen replied. They're considering a show of force but won't actually attack. Their tactical simulations will show they can't win a direct confrontation. Dr. Eliza Montgomery, Earth's leading xenosociologist, joined the discussion from her research facility in Antarctica. The Federation Council is fundamentally risk-averse. Their entire governance model is built on calculated expansion and assimilation. They'll bluster and threaten, but ultimately they'll seek accommodation. And the other galactic powers? Asked Admiral Hikaru Tanaka of the Pacific Fleet. Montgomery's holographic image shifted as she consulted her data. That's harder to predict. The Rixari will see opportunity in the Federation's discomfort. The Voidwalkers rarely interfere, but this might interest them enough to make contact. The real wild card is the Concordiate. They've maintained isolation for centuries, but this could draw them out. Chen nodded thoughtfully. Our intelligence assets in Federation space confirm increased diplomatic activity between all major powers. Every faction is reassessing the galactic balance in light of our revelation. The discussion continued as Earth's leaders refined their strategy for the coming diplomatic engagements. Unlike the Federation, which operated through consensus building across its hundreds of member species, humanity could move with decisive unity. The old national divisions that had once defined Earth politics had evolved into a cooperative governance system that maintained cultural diversity while enabling rapid decision-making when necessary. 3 days later, the Federation's response arrived in the form of a diplomatic envoy. Not the single ship they had initially sent, but a convoy of 30 vessels led by the Council's massive diplomatic flagship, the Harmonious Discourse. It was a calculated display of strength without being overtly threatening. From her command center, Admiral Chen monitored the Federation fleet's approach. Right on schedule, she noted, checking the prediction models developed by Earth's strategic AI systems. Exactly the number of ships our models predicted, arranged in exactly the formation we anticipated. The Federation convoy took up position at the agreed-upon coordinates, just beyond Mars' orbit. Unlike their previous visit, they made no attempt to approach Earth directly. Instead, they transmitted a formal request for a neutral meeting ground. Their learning, Ambassador Williams observed with satisfaction. Last time they assumed the right to land wherever they pleased. Now they're asking permission. The human response had been prepared in advance. Earth would host the diplomatic conference not on the planet itself, but aboard the Unity platform, a massive space station that had remained hidden in Earth's L4 Lagrange point until now. Revealing this installation, a self-sufficient habitat housing over 50,000 people, would further demonstrate human capabilities without exposing any critical defense systems. As the Federation delegation approached the Unity platform, their sensors tried desperately to analyze its construction. The station's curved, organic-looking architecture defied conventional engineering principles. It appeared to be grown rather than built, its crystalline exterior constantly shifting to maximize energy absorption from the sun. Inside, the station's vast central chamber had been prepared for the historic meeting. Representatives from every human nation waited alongside scientists, military officers, and cultural ambassadors. Unlike the theatrical deception of their first contact, this gathering showed humanity's true diversity and unity of purpose.